Ready to truly shake up your marketing and branding approach? Do you dare? Do you really? If so, you're more than welcome to join us on the Scenic Route Podcast with Rachael Kay Albers, marketing muckraker extraordinaire, as we dive into audacious branding strategies, marketing critique, and the essential human connections we all crave in today's digital age. Hi, and welcome to the Scenic Route Podcast, where we believe in embracing life's journey with purpose, curiosity, and a bit of potty humor. I'm Jen, a sociologist, someone's uncool mom, and I'm always looking out for that perfect slice of gluten-free rhubarb pie. Every week, I get the joy of sitting down with dreamers and doers who dare to take the road less traveled in pursuit of their own magic. Together, we dive into the inspiring stories of soulful entrepreneurs and visionary leaders who boldly share their beliefs, lessons, and fuck-ups. Excited? So am I. You're exactly where you're meant to be. And now, let's take this conversation off the beaten track. Rachael Kay Albers is a creative director and brand strategist for businesses that burn the rulebook. When she's not working with rebels and renegades to set fire to the box instead of thinking inside it, she writes and educates about the intersection of branding, pop culture, tech, and identity. She hosts Marketing Muckraking, the podcast that asks, what is brand culture actually doing to us? Rachael Kay Albers, welcome to the Scenic Route Podcast.
The view is amazing.
I know, I'm gorgeous. And I mean, I said it before, you give me like rich bitch just killed her husband, Negronis pull out the vibes. I mean, so here for this. It's a vibe. It's
Thank
so
you very
funny.
much.
I think a couple of episodes back, way back, and everyone who is like a Scenic Route diehard will probably remember. There's one episode where I'm saying, you know, it just came up of like what kind of podcast we're listening to. And I'm like, oh, I really like Marketing Muckraking with Rachael Kay Albers. And I mean, and my guest was like, yeah, she's amazing. I'm like, man, I would so fucking die if you'd be on my show. So I'm literally fucking dying right now.
Okay, well, we need to revive you. Let's stay with it. There's life to live. There's muck to rake. But I really, you know what? I do deal in compliments. It is my love language is validation. So thank you for that. You're going to get me through the next few days on just that compliment alone. Thank you.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. But seriously, like we've been chatting on and off a wee bit on Instagram. And I'm always kind of like, man, if that girl would live like a town over, we would have like a Thelma and Louise moment for sure.
Oh my God. I'm like actively on the hunt for, you know, a fellow muckraker to like stand in my kitchen and talk about the world like 3 times a week,
yes!
Right? I don't have that local like kitchen friend that's like, oh, you just come over, you eat my pretzels.
Yeah, you know, those people who can just come over, right? Like what happened to that? I feel
I think they're out there. I know that
yes, I know
like,
they're out there.
It's a very 90s sitcom thing though, where it's like you always have the neighbor that comes over and eats all the snacks. And I think I grew up
like a Joey. You need a Joey.
Being an adult means you have a neighbor that comes and eats your snacks. And you know what? Like,
but I would also bring you snacks. Like I'm that kind of friend.
Yes. Okay. All right. So you're really one to have. You know, my snacks are here for the eating. So this is a public service announcement.
What other
to anyone in the Midwest
have? Like sometimes I'm wondering when I'm watching TikToks and people have like these like super ginormous pantries with all like the glass stuff. And I'm like, you're not actually eating this. This is just like for show, whatever. Like, no, what is going on? Which also, but coming like, which will bring me later to the point of like, we both do the same thing. We do branding and we're going to talk about that too. But seriously, what happened with just going over to people's places right now, right? Because now I'm like, if someone's coming over, I really had to stop myself from stressing out that, I don't know, nothing is clean, everything is dirty, whatever. And like, I even signed up to fucking Bumble because I'm like, I don't know. Where's my adult kitchen friend? Yes, love it.
This is it. We're on the hunt. This is an online course I would buy, like how to find that special someone to eat your pretzels while you're in your sweatpants watching the Fall of the House of Usher.
Super specific. You know? Like I fucking love it. Yes, so super specific. You know, if you're listening, if you listen, you can either listen just for the crack of it, or you can just listen for the good business ideas, because we will keep them coming at you like rapid fire. You will not see them coming. Right? I mean, this is why you do branding, right? This example was like peak storytelling. Like, it's like, yes, this is how you have to position your course, people, because this is what people would buy.
And the specificity of it is what would stop a
chef's
scroll,
kiss.
right? That's that's you with the Negroni comment you made earlier. So it takes one to know one. But yeah, we are just kind of riffing here and having fun. And yet these specific examples that we're giving, these details about the pretzels and the sweatpants in the kitchen and the Negroni, right? This is what makes copywriting come alive. This is what makes people stop their scroll. This is what makes people say, oh my God, I feel seen. But have you read my diary? Yeah.
Ooh, yes. And this is something that, at least for a while now, ChatGPT will not be able to replace. So fear not. As long as you bring out...
That is so true. I'm going to actually go ask ChatGPT and see if it gives me anything like this.
Well, maybe the chief for the new version maybe could, if you would feed it and train it with your brand voice and language. But I mean, it will have a hard time still with like super short notice pop culture references, like the fall of the House of Usher. So if you can weave that in, it's always a good sign. Okay, what is ChatGPT saying?
Okay, so I said, give me a description of a friend who comes over and eats your snacks. Okay. All right. So, I could work on my feeding, but listen, we're doing this live. This is happening. And it gave me all these descriptions. It's still, I'm going to just tell you right now, the verdict is out. The snack enthusiast has an insatiable love for snacks and a key eye for finding the most delectable treats in your pantry. They're always on the lookout for something to munch
feel that's like a title that someone would write on B School.
You're totally right. Listen, this is fine.
Like,
but
just saying,
nothing sexy about this. There's nothing. Yes. Spontaneous visits. Okay, actually, that's not. This friend has an uncanny ability to show up unannounced at your doorstep, even with a big smile and a "Hey, what's for snacks?" greeting. That's actually hilarious. Hey, what's for snacks?
It's cheesy, but okay, yeah, we can let it pass.
Snack connoisseur. See, this is a repeat, if you ask me. They have a knack for selecting the best snacks available. Their snack choices are not random. They're carefully calculated to satisfy their taste buds. This is the same as the first one. Guilty pleasure sharer. This friend is unabashed about their love for snacks and won't hesitate to admit it. They often bring up the subject with phrases like, your pantry is my happy place. This is actually way more specific than I thought ChatGPT would be.
Yeah, honest. Your pantry is my happy place. I mean, I could work with that.
Honestly, yeah. That's the thing. All right. So now I'm nervous about ChatGPT. Always snack ready. Your friend is ever prepared with ingenious snack saving strategies.
No one would say ingenious ever.
Or snack saving strategy. What the hell is that? Right? I'm moving on. I can't even do it with this one. Snack time conversationalist. Whether you're watching a movie or playing games, like watching The Fall of the House of Usher. No, this is not what ChatGPT said. I'm peppering it. I'm adding the human element.
Yes, that's what you do, people. If you use ChatGPT,
it's cool. You're going to use it.
Pepper it up, spice it up,
your
all the way up.
Always manages to incorporate snack-related topics into the conversation. Like, did you know they make a limited edition of these chips? Okay, who do you know who would ever use that as a conversation? Did you know they make a limited edition of these chips? I mean, nice effort.
I must say, though, I have a friend. She works in like the R&D lab of a chips factory. So she sometimes brings over like weird flavor chips.
Well, okay. I guess ChatGPT knows. It knows. I don't have this friend, but you do. So there we go.
So I'm like, no, vanilla chips fucking suck. But hey, she had others who were quite decent.
All right. We got one more. Okay. And it's never empty-handed. On their way out, they often leave your place with a snack or two in hand, making a promise to bring something the next time they visit, although that might never happen. And then there's like a little,
this is also like this is also like bringing a story in mind. This is making like The last one is making my head play a story. The other is like, yeah, maybe. But that one is making me like, oh, I have like, I'm always like, when I'm writing something, I'm always kind of like, what would like the movie or the series to that look like? Right? And with that, I can work with like,
and this was
snack enthusiast, like, I cannot fucking work with.
Take these. I'll bring them back. You know what? I'll replace them. I'm going to bring I'll get you a whole new thing of bagels next week. I'll do the whole.
Yeah. We all have that friend who like borrows stuff from you and like never returns. So totally relatable.
You know, I will say that there was not a person in this 7-point list that brought their own snacks. They're all, well, I guess I didn't set it up that way. I said they came over and eat your snacks. So never mind. Honestly, I'm going to give ChatGPT a C+ on this.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe
so no immediate
honestly,
danger.
There's a couple moments in there that shocked me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually nervous.
They're like, sometimes when I'm like, hey, I wrote this headline. Can you improve it to make it whatever? Give me 20, whatever. And at 1 or 2, I'm like, damn, girl. Okay. Whoa.
I know I do that too. And you know what? I have so much therapy to do. And I'm getting over it slowly. I'm getting over it because like I'll have ChatGPT give me ideas for things or what's another way to say fill in the blank, right? I'll give a phrase and I'll be like, what's another way to say this? And then it'll give me the way. And I'm like, again, another. And I just keep asking it for more because I'm like, no.
Yeah, word hippo is dead. Long live ChatGPT.
And then I feel I have to like work through my internalized, like, oh, I'm sorry to be in position, ChatGPT. I'm like, I'm sorry to like be too much, you know, like I'm asking a lot of you.
You can always ask nice.
I feel bad for it. I want to be like, thank you so much for that concept, but it's just not going to work. Can we just like workshop some more?
Oh, do you have people pleasing tendencies?
I guess so. I'm telling you, this is the therapy I need. This is what I'm talking about. I need ChatGPT therapy to learn how to just abuse the robot.
Well, I mean, you can do therapy with ChatGPT.
Oh, God.
I guess.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey, ChatGPT, please help me deal with my people-pleasing tendencies. Enter. But make it fun.
I know what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah. Oh, shit. That's kind of like when what word did you tell me before? The fear of holes? What kind of phobia is it? Yeah. So that will be my Google search later on, which I already know I'll hate myself for it because I'm always dealing weird shit. And then I'm like, fuck, I should not have. But
you know what? It's making my skin crawl just thinking about it. So you've been warned. You've been warned.
Okay.
But you know what? Here's what I'll tell you. The resistance I feel that comes up when I think about doing like therapy with ChatGPT, part of it is like, no, I need the human experience, right? Like it's not just that I need advice, right? I need to be seen. I need space to be held for me. I need warmth. Yes. And this is the piece that when we talk about, you know, AI is going to take our jobs. Well, you know, AI is going to change how we work. It already is. We're talking about it right now, right? Like
yes,
I do so many things with this tool that like, I don't use a thesaurus anymore. I use ChatGPT. I'm like, give me 20 different ways to say.
Yeah, I said word hippo, gone. Like,
yeah,
no need.
But what I'll say is, you know, when we as creatives and strategists or marketers or copywriters or designers think, oh no, ChatGPT is going to take my job. I got to tell you, I just had a client in town last week. I'm going to have a client in town tomorrow. I do these 2-day retreats where people will come in and we will like jet fuel their marketing strategy in 2 days. They come to my home office palace. We sit in the rainbows.
Love it.
Make it happen. And there's so many people ask me if I do this on Zoom, and I do not do it on Zoom. I refuse to do it on Zoom because the magic is in the space that we are in together. The magic is in them coming to eat my pretzels. And so much of the stuff that we get done is this in this magic crucible of what I just said. I'm holding space for them. There's this connection. I see them. We are working through concepts and strategies. And there's that, in not distinguishable, but like, you can't describe it, inarticulable magic of when humans come together and hold space with and for each other. That ChatGPT, that AI, that even a human-looking robot will never be able to replace. So if you want to stay competitive, this is how we're weaving in the business advice. If you want to stay competitive in a world that is slowly adapting to artificial intelligence, then you need to double down on investing in your emotional intelligence and your human, your human relationships, like your human relations.
Yeah, going back to basics, right? I mean, selling has always been relationships. It has always been like part sociology, part psychology. Like it has always been me, you, I like you, I trust you. Okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Right. And really, maybe it's going back to really doubling down on this and doubling down on the warmth and what makes us human and what makes us like so weird that like AI cannot follow.
Well, it can't. And and I mean, do we want to live in that world? And what's interesting is, one, I think, especially coming off of this pandemic and all of the virtual stuff that we had to do, you're seeing now there's such a hunger, there's such a desire for experiences again, right? Yes. So people are desperate. Like nobody wants to do anything on Zoom. I mean, we do it for ease, but the fun, the novelty of it, there's no more novelty. There's no more of that. We're just
we've been around the block. We've seen it. We've done the fancy backgrounds. It's like,
Yeah, this is efficiency. I mean, now definitely it serves it's a means to an end. I can do a Zoom call versus an in-person meeting and it saves me time and all the things, but there's
here's the grand vision. You have to do a marketing plan for the Scenic Route podcast because I also firmly believe that, so that I can also invite all the guests from all over the fucking world to come sit with me.
Right.
Because I would love for people to have to really sit with me in a physical space, but we ain't there yet. But hey.
I know. I look at those podcasts and I'm like, oh my God, how much money does it cost to run your show?
Fuck.
When you always are doing in-person guests in your gorgeous studio. Yeah. Listen, don't get me wrong. I would love it too. And
dear Lord, I can admit I was a bit of jealousy. But I mean, it's that brings me to the part that I'm like, yes, I love this. Would do it differently though, but love it. And then I'm like, it kind of feels like I would need to sell my soul for this. So I'm kind of out.
You mean the in-person stuff?
Yeah, no, I mean the huge fucking, invite guests from all over the place for a class to do your shitty podcast thing.
Because then you've got to have an AI robot as your therapist, as your sponsor, right? That's
or some kind of weird shit where you're like, no. And then I don't know. And I mean, we could go into, of course, now this would be the perfect segue to be if I want this podcast to be anything, I probably have to really dig deep to get kind of at least someone on the lower ends of the online business family tree in. So I can crawl but no, there's another way. We're working on it now. We cannot tell you yet how it's done. We're working on it, but there's a different way.
Well, and I mean, and there are pros and cons. Obviously, sponsorships, they do
they're great sponsorships if they really truly align with your values and what you want.
Right.
But and if you're being transparent about
why don't you have sponsors? Why don't you do advertising on your show?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it would have to be, I'm a muckraker. My podcast is literally called Marketing Muckraking, where we examine what brand culture is doing to our humanity, right? So I'm constantly ripping apart how marketing is harming us and damaging the fabric of the world, of our social fabric.
Yeah.
So I can't just have a sports drink company, or I don't know, you hear better
whatever,
or you hear a razor
or a pheromone perfume or some kind of weird goop shit
company, or perfume, or who the hell, or I don't even know. And I'm not saying that those companies are bad, but because my job is to look behind the curtain of how companies are dysfunctional and marketing is wallpapering over their dysfunction. I would have to 100%, in my case, finding a sponsor would be so tricky, where it might not be for someone else, because I, as a muckraker, would have to know inside and out that I really stood behind this company and their practices and their source, everything, right?
Everything.
And that's a lot of work, to find that.
Oh, and the bigger the company, the harder impossible it gets, right? Like, I mean.
Exactly. So at this point, and the downside is, all right, I'm self-sponsored, which means, all of the costs for my show come out of my business budget, right?
Yeah, same.
And right now that means I do most of the show myself, like all of the show myself.
I am the show.
Okay, for like the last month, I've been slammed with work, and I've got, a whole backlog now of stuff. And I'm like, ooh, I'm not able to give my listeners like the stability they need. It's a very unstable show where it's like, we're in, we're out, we don't know where we're going. And yet, I think the trade-off there is, because the bigger a show gets, and this is the same for podcasts as it is for companies, as it is for anything that has multiple stakeholders now, and especially if there's sponsors involved or investors or a board or, and I'm going to take this analogy all the way and say, this is the gift that small businesses have that a bigger corporation that may have a lot more funding and money doesn't, which is the ability to be nimble and to align and create your values or create your content answering to no one, right? Because once you have investors, sponsors,
that's gone.
Board, a whole team, a bureaucracy, now you've got all these people to answer to. You got to keep your investors happy. You got to keep your sponsors happy. And now suddenly, to me, it's hard to do that and have the shape of the narrative. Not, you want to talk about what marketing is doing to us? Marketing then, to some degree, shapes the storytelling of the show, shapes the message. And that's a dangerous place to go, to be in, right? And so, there's pros and cons, but right now,
there's always pros and cons. I mean, I've just been the other day, I was talking to I was kind of like at a networking thing, and I was talking to people. I'm like, and it started to be really like a great discussion about, branding and like how we have to engage with also the roots of branding, which are rooted in racism and supremacy, classism, colonialism, and everything. And like how everything is branded. I mean, yes, I'm a big Naomi Klein worshiper. Woo, woo, right? So basically, it was just a really good discussion. Yeah. Oh, I haven't read it yet. Damn.
Just got the hands on this?
Yeah, I haven't read it yet. But
speaking of, you know what I would let Naomi Klein be my sponsor. We're just doing a little
Oh my God, I would be Naomi. I would let Naomi Klein be my everything.
Which talks about this topic. It talks about branding, specifically the age of the personal brand. So anywho, get it.
Or you can also start with her no logo, which is
you can. I mean, those are bookends. They really are. In fact, Doppelganger is in many ways an answer to some of the questions she posed in No Logo in 1999.
Because her last book was quite different.
We've answered those questions.
The No Is Not Enough was quite different from what she usually wrote, which is also nice. But anyway, going back to that conversation. So we were kind of like trashing branding. And then somehow the discussion obviously came up with, hey, what do you do? Which always happens. And I'm like, oh, I work in branding. And they were like, oh, okay. How do you live with that duality? And I'm like, well, there are better days and then there are others. We're like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I feel like now would be the really good time for like a Star Wars like pop culture reference, but I don't know fucking jack shit about Star Wars, so I can't really do it.
I was gonna say you're losing me here, Jennifer. I don't know anything about it.
I'm like, this would be such a perfect of like, the Empire and like, but I'm like, no, I fucking have no idea.
I don't know anything about it. There's
I mean, I have a lot of great pop culture references, but damn me. You know what? Fun fact, I've seen how's it called? The Mel Brooks kind of Spaceballs.
Yes.
I have seen Spaceballs like a gazillion times before I've even watched Star Wars. So to me, Spaceballs is the original. which is iconic in itself.
It is.
And only when I watched, I think 4 or 5 years ago, I watched Star Wars 1, I think. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if it's 1 or the one that aired the first or whatever. And I was like, oh, now I'm actually getting all the references.
You know what? That's the case for Star Wars. Even if you're not into it, you should watch it for the references. And I didn't retain a thing. It's just, you know what? There's only so much space in my brain. I've got all this muckraking, but I can give an answer to that the way I pose it. Cause you and I are alike. I talk my day job is branding. And by night I'm a muckraker and really by all 24/7, my brain is constantly muckraking. I'm a critic. And I like to tell people I'm a traitor to my industry. I'm a traitor to the branding industry. And I like it like that. And that marketing needs more muckrakers and advertising needs more activists and branding needs more traders. And because marketers shape the world that we live in, I mean, you could give a million examples as we record this. Yeah, I'm not even going to go down the road. I could give a million examples, but marketing shapes our perception of reality. As you said, it is fueled by and reinforces racism, colonialism, the patriarchy, classism, all of the
isms we don't want.
And so I do believe that while certainly it's a step towards a better future outside of capitalism, marketing as a tool for disruption, marketers I'm in a lot of companies where I have to deal with some leadership, and I come in on a consulting basis or on a retainer basis. I have to deal with leadership that is probably in many cases unwittingly or at least subconsciously reinforcing harmful beliefs, stereotypes, divisions in our society. And I am in a really awesome role to be able to change their impact and the messages that they're putting out and help them think differently about it. And since marketing, makes the world go round, I do think that is one avenue amongst many to be making change. So branding needs traders, marketing needs muckrakers, advertising needs activists. That's how you can talk shit about branding and still do it as a job. In fact, I'll just, we, I think, are one of the only industries that has a really hard time critiquing itself. Educators, for example, my friends who are teachers have no problem saying the education system is broken and needs reform.
It's fucked.
It's not serving students. It's not serving teachers. They don't feel bad for doing that. And I don't think we should feel bad or feel that we're not doing our jobs to talk about how the structure that we're forced to operate within is inherently
Here comes another $1 million idea.
The people. Yeah.
Instead of with marketing and branding, what we're good at, like hosting award ceremonies for shitty campaigns, right? So we should do an award ceremony for the biggest destructors. We should have like a conference where we're like a muckraking conference. And we give awards to the biggest disruptors and the biggest muckrakers and the biggest whatever. Instead of
can I be
the shittiest campaigns.
Contrarian about that? Because
sure.
I think that I think where a lot of people's brains would go on this, they would think about big glitzy campaigns, like bleeding heart campaigns, where a message of that's going against the grain just a little bit is baked into the ad. I'm going to tell you something.
Edgy.
Or it's about an issue, right? Like every Super Bowl, there's always a few brands who will make a social commentary through their Super Bowl ads. And some people would look at that and be like, look, that's change. That's not the type of muckraking I'm interested in. Although, hey, you go on with that. I love it for you, Doritos or whatever. That's you try that. But I think we saw some of the fallout from that this last year with Bud Light kind of performatively partnering with Dylan Mulvaney, for example, to look more diverse than they actually are and then their company culture is willing to embrace. But here's what I was going to say with that. The unsexy thing about being an actual disruptor within advertising and marketing and branding is I think that a lot of my work to help reform this industry is to teach my clients that if they want to advertise, market, brand in a way that honors the agency of their audience, that is in line with their values, that is not artificially accelerating the building of trust just to make a sale or to push someone to make a decision they're not ready to make, which is really ultimately what branding's job is to do. Advertising, marketing specifically, it's meant to override our instincts.
Yes.
I have to teach my clients to be willing to part with short-term profits in the service of building a business that is in alignment with their values and is doing right by the humans and the environment. And
that's not a pitch that's going to get you a lot of clients, though.
And that's not something you could see on the sleeve either. You're not going to be able to see that on the surface of a company. So it would be really hard to give out awards for this, because it would really be like the award for which company reduced its profitability in theory, like in one sense, but improved its overall human and environmental impact in ways that are almost very hard to quantify. Is this making sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it does. And I mean, this is where all the struggles of like these like CO2 certifications and compensation certifications and what the hell not comes into play, right? Like there's a shit ton of labels and we hardly know what is really behind it, how they quantifiably measure shit. It's
all branding. That is branding. It's bullshit.
That is all branding. Ooh, dear Lord. Yeah. Like, okay, like burning down the house here and just setting up another house in Indonesia, that's fucking branding. Like, do not fucking kid yourself. Like, seriously, what are you doing? Right? Like, or H&M doing like, oh, we take back the clothing. Sure. Whatever you need to tell yourself to go to bed.
Yeah. And that's also just a marketing campaign. So it's like,
yes.
So that's the hard thing about doing an award ceremony for this is that you would never be able to know the real.
Okay, maybe it just was a desperate attempt of something to create so we can hang together in real life. Okay.
But I do feel like some sort of a convening of the muckrakers, some sort of a meeting of the minds in terms of discussing this topic and exploring it together as a group. Now that I'm down with an award ceremony, I love.
Okay, so maybe
I love a reason to get dressed
like a think tank type thing, or a podium discussion or something.
Yeah, I love an unaward. It's like, give yourself the award. I don't know. See, this is where my brain is going.
Yeah. Oh, but it's lovely. We do an unaward ceremony and everyone gets a fucking award.
And they give it to themselves. I don't know. It's like a whole thing. So look at us.
This has very Tony Robbins vibes though. Like you give the award to yourself. And then if you want to have like a more glitzy award, we're going to charge you more. And then you can give it to yourself to honor your true self, which we help you find, by the way, because you're unable to find it yourself, you silly little thing. See, that's the thing. We would have so much evil potential.
I know.
It's crazy. But we're out here being like, you shall not accelerate like trust building. Which is the double irony, because that's actually my sociological theory, like framework and studies of like how we build trust. Of like, but we do it ethically. But the whole ethically thing, right? As you said, it's super unsexy to disrupt. It's so much of it is greenwashing or whatever kind of washing you want to do. Which probably leads to the question, okay, how? And I'm sure you hear this all the fucking time. Well, then how else do we do it? Like, what's the real way to do it? Tell me.
I mean, I'll tell you this. I think now there's always exceptions to every rule, right? And yet you want to talk about laying down some unsexy truths, which is really
give me the unsexy truths. I'm here for the unsexy truths.
Is that to truly build more ethical businesses is not inherently profitable. And like I said, you want to do business better. In most cases, it means slowing down. It means divorcing the obsession with constant scaling and growth, which is what capitalism is based on and why capitalism is a scourge on the earth and why we are in this moment of climate change and extreme crisis in many ways.
Yeah. Because there's just not ever a fucking enough.
And so, I really take issue and struggle with the marketers and which are just a different shade of the online business family tree, who push this idea that I can teach you how to be ethical and still make a shit ton of money. And it's not that you can't align your business practices with your values. And I'm all about trying to be more ethical. I don't believe there's an ethical pinnacle you can reach and now you're there and now you're ethical.
No, that's kind of like the self-awareness type of thing. You're never fucking done. It's never, unless you're literally dying.
Is based on exploitation. So even if your little tiny business is doing everything in the greatest way possible, there's no way that you're not benefiting from and contributing to a supply chain where someone and somewhere is being exploited. That's just the reality of capitalism. So once you accept that, then it's there is no 100% ethical, but also people who are take my hand, I'm going to take you down this garden path where I teach you how to be ethical and
the yellow brick road to ethical
still. And it's that's the wrong. This is you immediately started on the wrong foot. That is
run as fast as you can in the opposite direction.
And it's not I'm also not trying to romanticize poverty or say, oh, the goal is to just everyone make no money at all. And yet I think step one is saying building better, more ethical businesses means leaving money on the table. And it means, like I said, readjusting. My friend Lisa Robin Young likes to call it finding your enoughness number and then adjusting the type of business you're building around that. And what is the enoughness number for your business or a company? What's your enoughness number as a person? What you need to make to live well and to support your family. And that number is going to be different for different people. Different people have, she uses the example of, I might have aging parents who need care, who need, lots of healthcare and support, that is going to change the number, the enoughness number that I need to provide and take care of my family and myself and live, comfortably. And that number might be different if I'm a mom of 6, and that number might be different if I have a disability, and that number might be different in all where I live. If I'm in New York City or San Francisco versus Montana, or whatever it might be. But I think it starts there. And you want to talk about scaling. See, this is not sexy, nor is this advice scalable, because it means that the answer for each business, for each person, is going to be very unique to them, right? It's not oh, here's the way to be ethical that I can sell to 2 million people, right? Anyway, I could go all day. You found me in one of my rabbit holes.
I'm glad. Take me down a rabbit hole. No, which makes me, I don't know. Now my brain is giving me a pop culture reference to the moment in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas where the White Rabbit song plays.
There we go.
That's my vibe. Well, anyway, maybe less fear, more loathing. I don't know. But yeah, this is, I mean, we could do this could be I don't know, a 6 episode series. But anyway, if you want to hear more of all of this, go check out Marketing Mock Racking with Rachael Kay Albers. I mean, that's the place where you do go all the way down the rabbit hole. But it's really, it's the thing, right? We can never be fully ethical. And I think we also first have to acknowledge all our own privileges that come with that, right? And I sometimes when I have client calls and then they're like, oh, okay, this, I don't know. Sometimes I'm sure you're when people come to me, they have done loads of different things, done that, worked with that person, done this course, done that masterclass, whatever. And they're like, this shit is not working for me. And there might be a lot of different reasons why shit is not working for you. But one of them is surely that person might have different privileges than you have. Right?
It's most likely that.
Yeah, right. I'm not going to generalize and say it's always that, but
that's
it's like big
oftentimes that. Yes.
And then they beat themselves up about it. And then they're kind of like go into this like, oh, I hate that person, blah, blah, blah. And until you're like, well, yes, rightly so. That person sucks. But where are your privileges, right? You also do have privileges, right? I mean, we know you're more likely to go viral on TikTok if you, I don't know, look like the standard definition of beauty, right? We all know these things, right? Like you can type into, I don't know, AI tools and be like, show me a beautiful woman. It would show you probably a white woman with blonde hair.
I'm going to ask ChatGPT, what is a beautiful woman? Let's see what it says.
Yeah, or you can go on Getty Images or something like that. Oh, well, I mean, the stock librities have become better.
I wonder if it's going to give me a progressive answer and refuse to define it.
Oh, maybe.
Oh. All right. It's talking. Yeah. You know what? It's not worth it. It's giving me a very safe answer meant for like a middle school textbook. That's how I'll describe
boring. Can you make it more like, give me an answer that is more edgy or more, I don't know, weird.
Yeah. Give me a weird answer. Let's see. Okay, this is good. I'll take it. A beautiful woman.
Oh, dear Lord.
A beautiful woman is a magical unicorn who glows in the dark, sings lullabies to squirrels, and has a wardrobe made entirely of cotton candy. She can also speak fluent dolphin and is a professional skydiving contortionist, defying gravity with elegance and a never-ending supply of confetti. Okay.
Can I have this as my IG bio? Like, I fucking love this. Okay. I want to have like a never-ending arsenal of confetti and clothes made out of cotton candy.
Dolphin. How about that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You are a beautiful woman.
Oh, I always knew deep down inside.
Yes. Okay, so I appreciate ChatGPT. And now I'm really nervous because I'm like, well, at least I'll always be weirder than ChatGPT. No, I'm not.
No, this is pretty fucking weird. I'm sorry. This is really pretty fucking weird. Yeah. And I know, you know how weird it is. I'm going to hammer out another pop culture references. Ooh. You know how weird it is? It's as weird as the ending of the episode 2 of The House of Fall of Usher.
Ooh. Weird, but way more. It's like it's a very happier ending. I'll just say that. Confetti versus you'll have to watch.
Yeah, you have to watch. I mean, it is raining. No.
Maybe not.
It's not raining confetti, but it's raining. So
yeah, it is. You're right.
Right? Like, I mean, hey.
Listen, trigger. You know what? I got to tell you, put a content warning on here if you choose to watch this show.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be into the dark stuff. This is definitely horror, gore to the max.
Yeah, but it's not like, but you know, it's not kind of like, I don't like the super gory things like Saw or the Hills Have Eyes, that kind of things. Not into that. But that slow burn mixed with, I'm so super intellectual and I have Poe quotes, references all the time. That's kind of like, okay, that I'm kind of like
it's digging. Literary gore. It's literary horror, right? There's a lot of Edgar Allan Poe, like Jennifer said, and so it's got that going for it. But it's Edgar Allan Poe in a 2023 universe. There's a little touch of Saw, just a touch of that. So
yes, yeah, there's a touch, but I mean
a little touch.
I'm
talking
just
about beautiful
everything
women.
Oh yeah, which one was your favorite?
You want to go viral on TikTok? You're more likely. We're talking about privilege. Another way of saying privilege, because sometimes that word is charged for people, they have a hard time seeing past it, is advantages, right? It's advantages because you can, what you may lack in some degree of class privilege or race privilege or gender, all of the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You still may have certain advantages, right? Like one advantage when it comes to building a business or being a creator on the internet is, and this is, you could see this as a privilege or just as an advantage, is being early to the game. You're more likely to go viral on TikTok if you went viral 3 years ago. That's actually the truth, right?
Yes.
If you were early to that platform, if you were early to online marketing, if you were early to any game, right? You are more likely to be successful in it, right? Because you're an early leader, you're recognized, and now you can just go off of that momentum from now until the end of time. that's an advantage that you may have or that you may not have. And that is an advantage. A lot of these people in the online business family tree, that was pretty much, I talked about this, speaking of TikTok, with Molly McPherson, which a lot of people know as the PR lady. She's known as the PR lady. She's incredible.
Yeah, I love her TikToks.
She very openly acknowledged on my show that a lot of her success, now listen, she's great. Her content is incredible. But she's like, a lot of my success comes down to, I hit on TikTok a few years ago and now the algorithm loves me and there's nothing I can do about it. Like now I'm being loved on by the algorithm in a way that a newer creator just won't be. And a lot of these people in the online business family tree that have like got, struck gold in 2009, 2010, 2011, their success and now their ongoing success is very much attributed to they were the first to the game. And it doesn't matter if you take all of their courses and give them $10,000 a day for the rest of your life. If you weren't in the game when they started, you will never be able to replicate their path to success. Does that make sense?
Amen. Amen. And also, like, why would you want to replicate their way? Right? Like, I mean, don't give me now like the fame and money type of shit, right? Like, I mean, sure. I mean, I take the private jet, but no, I do not. That would really be totally against all my fucking values. But I mean, dear Lord, right? Like, sometimes I'm like, we're always so like in the rush of, and you said it before, but we need to fucking slow down. We're always in the rush, right? Like, oh, we have the rush to, I always call them like the 10K and 10K people, right? Like, oh, we have to rush to do the 10K, then the 100K, then the 1 million, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, and if you have not hit 100K revenue in like 6 months of doing business, you're a fucking failure. And it's like, no, like actually, this is the scenic route. Just take a fucking break and enjoy what's around you.
You're not if you make like $100,000 in your first 6 months of it, if you make six figures in your first year in business, you are in like the 0.01%. That's actually the truth, right? It's not just that you're not a failure if like you're, if you don't achieve that, but that if you do,
you're the statistical majority.
Like the extremely rare case. It's not even like 50-50 here or 30-70, right? It's rare. And I think
one digits.
The folks in the online business tree, especially that are selling success, like that's what they're selling.
Yeah.
Are selling a statistical impossibility, right? For their most, they know they're going in with their eyes wide open that the majority of their audience, like 98% of their students, will never achieve the results that they're
talking about ethical business,
seducing them with. And yet at the same time, the other side of this is like, why is everyone in a rush? And why would you want to copy one of these online? Because capitalism has all of us, we're very aware of the realities of the system, and that without money, you are in extreme disadvantage, to put it one way.
Yes.
Most of us, especially because the marketing messages around us are reinforcing the idea, well, that you're not enough and that you need to buy this or that. And like, but also
this makes you complete.
Of our crumbling world. The reality of our crumbling world as well is that money can help you live better. It can also just help you live, period. Right. And I think everyone is walking around, rich and poor, quite honestly, some justifiably and some kind of, they've been, with this fear of, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? I just want to be okay. I just need to be okay. And so there's this like breathless, desperation to do anything we can to be okay. And so I have empathy for those who are grappling, like trying to climb up the mountain, trying to figure out a way to just be okay, and that's why people want to follow these gurus, right? Like, fame and fortune.
Yeah, no blame on them, but blame on the gurus because they're playing with that intentionally.
Blame on the folks who are not at least being like, okay, sell your thing. And then in your marketing, be like, and by the way, and not just put it in the little fine print at the bottom, but with an acknowledgement that the system is built so that not even just like not everyone, but most people will not reach that next level taking this method because the system is built on a disparity and between income, is built on exploitation, right?
Yes.
if Marie Forleo, as just one example, Jenna Kutcher ever headlined with that, and then was like, but if you want to learn more about how I do my life, you can take my course. I might get back down the Kutch hole, right? Like,
that's a bold claim. I was like, that's a really fucking bold claim, Rachel. Like, I don't know if you're.
Can you imagine though, if any of these people actually recognize?
I would say I would read that post, or I would read that blog or that landing page, because I would be like, intriguing. Where's that going? But I don't know if I would.
Well, really, that's what you headline with, and then you still make all of your products and services telling people how to make money, there's already a contradiction, right? Like you can't believe that capitalism is inherently flawed and then make your whole life about teaching people how to game the system, right? And so I doubt it that it'll ever happen, but a girl can dream. But that's the thing.
A girl can dream.
Laying out the ridiculousness of that, though, helps one to be a more conscious consumer.
Yeah.
Because if the leader you're buying from, if the book you're reading, if the guru that you're following, if the formula that you're trying to replicate doesn't come along with an acknowledgement of the inherent inequities of this economic system, well,
proceed with caution
of the value of those lessons. And then you're basically just going in and saying, it's statistically unlikely that I will be one of the outliers who makes a bunch of money off of this, but I'm still willing to play the lottery here. And then just be honest with yourself. You're playing the freaking lottery, right?
Which is cool. Yeah. Just be honest about it.
I mean, do it. I mean, sure. Whatever.
Yeah. Be honest about it, which, yeah, I think that's a great way of kind of like just slowing down and being honest to yourself and to everyone, to that extent, to everyone else in your orbit, right? Because, man, we hold so much power. Those of us who do marketing and branding, and like, we're not the dark empire, the evil empire. Fuck, I'm so shit with Star Wars references. But to kind of like wrap this up, I do a thing at the end where I'm kind of like have 5 rapid fire questions. You ready?
Yes.
She's nodding and like cursing myself internally. Okay.
No, I'm here. I love it. I
know you're ready. You're born ready. So I'm not.
Let's do it.
Okay. If you could instantly master any skill, what would it be and why?
Taking care of plants. Because that's what life is all about. I don't own any real plants. They're all fake. It's my greatest, one of my greatest sources of shame. So I'd love to be a plant mom. Let's go.
I love this for you. What's a goal or dream you've always had, but you haven't yet pursued?
Pursued? Mm-hmm. You know, I would love to theoretically climb Mount Everest, but like speaking of capitalism and exploitation, I can't do it. I can't pursue it, but I can watch a lot of documentaries about it. So that's what I do.
Fair enough. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, dead, alive, whatever, who would it be?
This is a tough one. This is a tough one.
I know. I always have like a dinner party guest list.
This is so cliche. I want to know what was the truth about this, though. I think I would choose Jesus Christ. And I'm not saying that like as a person of faith. I'm saying that as a person who lost their faith. So I want to know what the truth is, right? Like, I want to muckrake. I want to muckrake.
Oh, you know,
Jesus Christ, whoever that dude was, you know, I don't know what he was, but I would love to know. So,
you know who I would invite to a muckraking party? Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
There's a lot of muck there.
Yeah, there's a lot of muck, but I don't know if you know, she would be down. I think some of that muck she might be hiding. So I that's what I've heard.
I know, but that's why we muck deeper.
The truth, but yeah.
And you know, if it would be a regular dinner party, do you want me to tell you mine? It would be Janis Joplin.
Ooh. That's an ongoing guess. You know what? I don't know if you want Janice to be the one who's eating your pretzels, though. I feel like that could make for a chaotic life. But you know,
yeah, whatever. Okay, we have 3 more.
I like
what. Okay, this is easy because it's for brand people. What are 3 words you would use to describe yourself, and why those?
Weird. Hilarious. Exuberant.
Ooh. Now I know who always asks ChatGPT for, give me another word for blank. Okay. If you were a ghost, how would you haunt people? This is my favorite question.
In a comforting way. Like, I would be the
ghost. You would be Casper the Friendly Ghost?
Yeah, I would. I would come in and it'd be like, you know, when you like a warm like, oh, I feel better. And like, I might be the ghost I want to see in the world. I want that ghost. I want a comforting ghost to comfort me at night. So I'm going to go be that ghost. That
would be like such a great like tagline or name for like a comfort pillow, like comfort ghost or comforting ghost or something.
Yeah, I can see it. I definitely. Yeah. This is the time of year to be marketing that. I'll tell you what. This is it. This is the busy season for Comfort Ghost. I'm going to tell you that.
Yes. Last but not least, what book are you currently reading? The Doppelganger?
This one. I wish I could say I finished Doppelganger by Naomi Klein, but I have not. I've got a bunch in my Audible, though. I've got the Humanity Archive. I've got, and you know what? I've been reading Harry Potter with my 5-year-old. So I've got those 3.
I love this.
Ooh, and I feel like that's a whole other conversation.
Can we still can like Rachael Kay Albers give us the deeds? Can we still read Harry Potter?
Yeah, I know that was exactly where I was about to go. Can we while I'm doing it?
Can we still read Harry Potter?
And I've never read it myself. And my daughter watched one of the movies and was really into it. So I'm like, well, now we have to read the book. Okay, we got to do the actual book. In fact, I used to have it the other way. When I was a kid, it was like you weren't allowed to watch the movie until you read the book. So I kind of broke that rule. But I've been listening to it and I really am wrestling with this question of, can we and should we, from an ethical perspective, consume the art by people who we know either historically were or are currently harmful?
And art itself portrays people in very stereotypical ways that are problematic as well. I mean, Cho Chang, seriously, what the fuck? But yeah.
As well as, you know, for example, there's another like line of this, which is, you know, Little House on the Prairie, those books. Mm-hmm. And
there were books? I never knew that. I just know the series.
Yeah. It's a whole series. And there's a lot of racism in those books. And so like, and that I didn't remember as a child. And now that I've encountered it upon reading these to my daughter, I like changed the storyline. Like I will adjust, I will not read it outright. And I have used it as an opportunity to talk to her about changing narratives. And like, this is people sometimes believe, or this is what we are very, I'll just say this. My daughter is Mexican-American. Her father is from Mexico. And so we have a lot of conversations about colonialism. I know it sounds ridiculous, but we do. Like to be talking about with your 5-year-old, but I think it's necessary.
I love this.
And we talk about, you know, white people colonizing not just the United States of America, but, you know, Mexico, Latin America, I mean, the whole world, right? Mm-hmm. And that's just conversations that we have in an ongoing way. So it does actually come up when we have read a little bit of Little House on the Prairie. It started last Christmas. I read like a Christmas chapter for her. And then I read the whole book and I was like, oh my God, I don't remember. And this is the thing. So we talk about that. And I will just say that the case against that conservatives will often have about like, you shouldn't talk to your kids about this is that they're going to be ashamed. Like little white children are going to be like ashamed of themselves and feel guilty. And I'll just tell you, you know, I'm raising a little girl and she's not ashamed at all.
It's just the opposite. Shutting up and being quiet about it will breed shame.
Yes. So for her, it's just, this is the way, because it is just the way it was. It is the way it is. This is the facts. These are the facts
to do fucking better.
What white people have done to the world. We personally, you and me, did not go do that thing. We have our own reality that we live in within capitalism that is much more, the harm, right, is more subtle. And it's just the truth, right? It's just the facts. So there's what's there to be ashamed of. It's more like, okay, and now what are we doing? What are we doing next? What kind of world do you want to build? And those are the questions that we,
where do we go from here?
From a 5-year-old perspective, obviously. So it's very, it's a different conversation than you and I would have about this topic, right? But that's really the question. What kind of world are we going to build? Now that we know
that sounds like a YouTube Kids series.
This is it.
Yeah. YouTube Kids series. I swear. I would watch it with my kid for sure.
I don't know if I'm the one. I would consult on it though. I don't know if I should be the leader of this conversation. I don't think so. I don't think I'm meant to be the leader, but I'm the leader of the conversation in my house with my child, right?
There you go.
I agree with you though. There probably is a series about this.
Most likely but
we're all just learning as we go. These are conversations I definitely didn't have with my parents. And so,
no, not a chance.
Talk about being more ethical. Am I doing everything perfect as a mom? And also in these conversations with my daughter, am I saying everything right? Am I teaching her everything right? Absolutely not. Of course not. Right.
But perfect should not be a ruler ever. It's not right. It should not be a ruler in any situation. No, I mean, you're setting yourself up for failure. Like, no.
Right. But at the very least, I know how my parents talk to me about these topics and how I have spent a great deal of my adult life like deconstructing what they taught me.
Yeah.
And certainly I'm sure that my own daughter will deconstruct the things I've taught her too. And yet there are some things she won't deconstruct, that we've moved forward at least a little bit. And hopefully she can continue moving the yardstick just a little bit. We'll see. That's the goal.
That's the fucking goal. Man, it was one of my goals to have you on my podcast, and woo, woo, woo. Cross that list.
Ghost. Thank you.
Rachel, it was my absolute fucking delight to have you on the show. Where can people find you if they want to hear more from you, see more of you?
You know what? I am available anywhere internets are sold. RachelKayAlbers.com. I'm on Instagram. Look for Marketing Muckraking. That is MUCKRAKING. You just, ask the universe and I will show up, right? That's just kind of how it works these days, right? So
you're kind of like a magic 8-ball. Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, Magic 8-ball, aka Rachael Kay Albers. The pleasure was all mine. Thank you so much. And just like that, we've reached the end of another journey together on the Scenic Route Podcast. Thank you for spending time with us. Curious for more stories or in search of the resources mentioned in today's episode? Visit us at scenicroutepodcast.com for everything you need. And if you're ready to embrace your scenic route, I've got something special for you. Step off the beaten path with my Scenic Route Affirmation Card Deck. It's crafted for those moments when you're seeking courage, yearning to trust your inner voice, and eager to carve out a path authentically, unmistakably yours. Pick your Scenic Route affirmation today and let it support you. Excited about where your journey might lead? I certainly am. Remember, the Scenic Route is not just about the destination, but the experiences, learnings, and joy we discover along the way. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on the Scenic Route again.